Hi, this is CF from howtofinancemoney.com. Today I'm going to show you how to read the annual report of a real estate investment trust. Now, if you were to read an article by Casey Lau last year, I got it open right here. This article is about how to invest in real estate investment trust in Malaysia. So if I were to skip to the part where it says what to look for on a real estate investment trust, Casey Lau actually listed 6 criteria to evaluate a REIT whether it's a viable investment or not. First one, I just go through this very quickly, is that it should have an increasing dividend payout. Secondly, it should be growing its portfolio, as in the fact that it should be acquiring assets and making improvements on the assets. And thirdly, it should be located in a prime strategic location. The fourth point would be it should cater for tenants which shows a promising chance of longer term tenancy. And the last 2 points would be sufficient numbers and variety of tenants, plus competent and well-skilled professionals to actually manage this real estate investment trust. So these are the guidelines, but how do we know if a REIT or real estate investment trust actually fulfill these 6 criteria? So I'm going to show you how in the REIT's annual report. I know that most of us don't really like to see all the financial statements and figures, but I'm going to show you how you can just skim through and look for the relevant infos in an financial annual report to actually do evaluation based on these 6 criteria. Now, I am going to open up the annual report for 2011 for Capital Malls Malaysia Trust. It's one of the real estate investment trusts that actually invests in, or should I say, in its portfolio, it has 4 shopping malls in Malaysia under its belt, namely Gurney Plaza in Penang, the Mines and Sungai Wang Plaza in Selangor, and also East Coast Mall in Kuantan, which it just acquired somewhere last year. So this is the annual report for Capital Malls Malaysia Trust, and I'm going to just going to scroll it through over here. Okay, there's not much info. I mean, you don't need to read all this. Okay, so criteria 1, increasing dividends. As you can see from here, the DPU or distribution per unit in terms of cents has been increasing from financial year 2010 to 2011. So check, first point, check, right? And further on, we are seeing that, okay, these are some of the key financial indicators that I do think it's important if you were to invest in a REIT or any company for that matter. Now, the thing to look for, very quick, gearing ratio, right? Gearing ratio reflects the total borrowings of this investment trust. So actually, it's the lower the better, and in most real estate investment trust in Malaysia, the max is allowable is actually 50%. And as you can see here, the total gearing ratio in terms of percentage has been decreasing from 2010 to 2011. In 2001, it has 28.7% compared to 33.6% in 2010, which is a good sign, yeah, because a gearing ratio is similar to like when you want to apply for your mortgage loan or car loan. Banks will actually evaluate, say that, hey, your commitment should not be more than 1/3 of your net monthly income. So you can think of it this way for this gearing ratio. Again, the lower the better, and the figures is pretty solid over here. And second thing I want to look at here is actually the interest coverage. Interest coverage means the ability of the company to actually service its interest expense caused by its total long-term debt. Now, these figures actually says that is 3.8 compared to 3.6 from 2011 to 2010, which is a good sign, because anytime when this figure drops below 1.5, a company actually become questionable in terms of ability to service its debt, or it become more and more burdened by debt. Now, for your information, interest coverage ratio, which is less than 1, simply means that the revenue generated by the company or investment trust is insufficient to satisfy its interest expense, right? So, and moving on, again, solid figures over here, and moving on. Okay, right. For one of the criteria in Casey Lau's original article about reputable management, so some people will see that who's the trustee? Trustee is M Trustee Berhad, which is essentially an arm of M Bank Berhad, and they are a reputable trustee. And you can see that this solid management trust structure over here, so it fulfills criteria number 6, right? Okay, so there's nothing much here. Right, this page is regarding AEI, or AEI stands for Asset Enhancement Initiative, which actually says that the REIT should be growing its portfolio over time, and also it should be improving on assets under its portfolio. And for Capital Malls Malaysia, this is actually a good sign. It actually acquires Gurney Plaza extension in last year. Shows that it's aggressively growing its portfolio. Yeah, and the second thing here is that last year, as I mentioned earlier, it just completed the acquisition of East Cosmo in Kuantan, and East Cosmo in Kuantan is actually one of the most prominent malls in the east coast of Peninsular Malaysia. So again, good sign over here, great sign, right? Right. So let's look at the portfolio in terms of tenancy and lease expiry profile for Capital Malls Malaysia. As you can see from this graph over here, currently, as of 31st December 2011, you can see that about half of the tenants under this Capital Malls Malaysia actually has in lease expiry in where most of it tenants have a lease expiry of 3 years or more. It's actually a very good sign, okay, as shown by the figure over here. And if you look at the tenants, what the business they're involved in all these malls under this portfolio, you can see that fashion and accessory takes a huge portion of its portfolio. It's close to 39%. Again, this shows that there's a good mix of tenants under this portfolio, which is a good thing because you don't want to count on one big tenant, because if that big tenant were to close shop or were to relocate, then the REIT portfolio will actually loses income significantly. Right, the other things, the figures that you look at, and we close this PDF file and we look at this again, say that yes, does it fulfill criteria 1? Absolutely. Does it fulfill criteria 2? Yes, absolutely. And there is no question on the location or the strategic location of these malls. If they are not situated in strategic location, you'll be doubting why there is a malls at all at that location. So there's no question on the criteria 3 when it comes to retail and shopping malls. And for the 4th criteria, yes, the tenants did show a promising chance of longer term tenancy by looking at the lease expiry profile just now in this Capital Malls Malaysia annual reports, and says that there is sufficient numbers and variety of tenants. The answer is yes, as shown by the pie chart which we just reviewed short while ago. And normally it says that whether the management is competent and well skilled. Yes, I personally do think that the management of this REIT is under good hands, and with a reputable trustee as M Trustee Berhad. And I've also shown you that the gearing ratio and the interest coverage of this Capital Malls REIT is actually solid figures. It's really solid figures. So that's it. Until next time, I'll actually review more of these REITs initiatives in Malaysia. So okay, take care. See you till next time. Bye.